That day, I wasn't supposed to listen to this kind of talk. I was originally supposed to be with a client, but the client called me to cancel the appointment. So I was sitting in my office finishing up some paperwork. It was early, maybe 7:15, although the official start time is no earlier than 8. Several of the guys had arrived early to get coffee and catch up before work. When Braz and Bill arrived, I heard them start to discuss the latest nonsense that had come out of the administration. They then discussed yesterday's game and eventually moved on to the inevitable conversation about women. When they got to the subject of women, Sam Al-Josh and Dennis joined them. I was around the corner out of sight, and no one knew I was there. No one was walking past me. That's when Josh replied, "I guess you could have won after they had discussed all the girls in the office and their individual preferences. Who would you choose?" "I would choose Marie for his huge boobs. My wife rarely needs to wear a bra. Her boobs are so small," said Brab. "Ted chose Sally because she had the nicest behind he's ever seen." And Yusim asks Tide, "She doesn't work here. It's easy. She's the dress woman. I do genius as often as possible. Too bad you never get the chance. Why do you mention her availability?" She showed it in her eyes. "Damn, any man in this room could most likely have her, maybe even simultaneously." "You mean one-on-one or all together? Take her to a party with a dress? I'll be sure to have her." Brad could have his turn 15 minutes later, and before the party was over, she would most likely have done everyone at least. "Once you said it, Bill, you're wrong." Some said, "No, Rob knows about her availability. Otherwise, why do you think Saturd is constantly pulling on her? He doesn't dare let her out of his sight." The truth was wrong. I couldn't stand being apart from her. I was so stupidly in love with her. She's approachable. I tell you, Sam, you only do what you want now. One was going to accept that their discussion was cut short when Ari, our manager, yelled, "And it's 8 a.m. Where the hell?" It's mega. The little meeting ended, and the guys dispersed to start their usual work. I wondered why Sam was so convinced to see my wife on the way home. She was beautiful, and that was enough to attract the attention of men. She liked to flirt, which encouraged men to linger around her. Although I could be wrong, I didn't think that I would have a chance with her simply because he wasn't her type. Nevertheless, it was my chance to test something. If I played my cards right, I could even make $1 or $2. Even if I had to work at it, I could maybe make the circumstances work for me. Jenny had to be engaged first. Jenny had already made dinner when I got home, and after a little chat about our days, I asked her, "Do you want really go to Cancun? How far are you willing to go to get there?" What kind of question is that? Although it depends on what you're willing to accomplish, I think I know a way to get the money without borrowing or without debt. "What are you talking about?" I told him what I heard. "I want to use it. I want you to act like you're willing to be with one or two of them if the opportunity presents itself. I want them all to come over for a barbecue." "Rob, you're crazy. Listen to me. Of course all the men want to get into your jeans. You're gorgeous. You flirt a lot, which gives some of you hope that they might have a chance. I propose something to you. We'll have a barbecue, and you'll do everything you can to make them think that they might have a chance with you. If only you could get me out of the way. I'll then have a poker game for next week. As soon as Sam, whoever else, says he's sure he can have you, Bill will bet he can. I will encourage Bill to start another conversation like the one I heard this morning. We will have him push them to bet, and then he will say, "Okay, I am so convinced you and succeed that I will bet $500 here. It won't happen. You have a chance." Rob will be moved out of the way, so there is plenty of time to try. They will be convinced they will succeed and will place the bet during the poker game because you will have prepared them before the baby. You will turn them all down, and we will leave with $3,000 to pay for the trip to Cancun. What should I do at the barbecue? Continue the flirting as usual, but take it a little further. What do you mean by a little further? It's up to you. Anything goes. Just don't sleep with them or get too personal. You mean I should let them touch me a little, maybe? Smear a few spots on their clothes, give them a few hard kisses, then send them home with a case blue balls. Certainly something like that. If only they could leave the barbecue convinced that they could have been with you. How are you going to get Bill up there? I'll give him $500. So that leaves $2,500 for the trip. What do you think? So are you qualified to do it? Oh, honey, there's going to be a side effect. Even though I could do it, and it would even be nice. What does that mean? Will they all leave with blue balls? Of course. But once they Regan, I'll do everything I can to wow you. I'll be hotter than a wildfire to be ready for work the next day. You should start taking your vitamins now. I took BAP aside. I told him I heard the conversation, and I made it clear what I wanted to accomplish. He said he was all for it, and started to grin. I respect Genius a lot. And I was really pissed when he told me it would be easy to sleep with her. Bill agreed with this strategy. All that was left was to get the boys ready. It was too late to organize the barbecue for the following weekend, so I booked it for the following weekend and made sure everyone was there. Then all that was left was to wait and watch. To my knowledge, the barbecue went well. Jeannie was in a bra under a low-cut top and wearing underpants with his cheeks exposed. The tents were clearly built into the guy's jeans. Every time I saw the guy after that, his pants were full of tent. Jeannie and the NV guys would disappear. Every now and then for 5 or 10 minutes the following Thursday, I organized a poker game. All the guys said they would come. Jeannie loved me madly, so they all left knowing that Jeannie was theirs if he would just get out of the way and keep his word. Bill almost died that night. On Monday morning, everyone started talking about Jeannie showing up at the barbecue. Some added, "I tell you, she is available if we could reach her when Rob is not there." Everyone agreed with him, even though he all thought it would be nearly impossible to get me out of the way. Bill then rushed over to help. "This is pure stupidity. You have no chance of catching her." "Oh, come on, Bill. Everyone knows she is free except you seem to be in love with her. Or something. You're looking at her with rose-colored glasses." "Actually, yes. Will you be willing to back up your words?" "What do you mean about the poker game on Thursday? I will get Rob out of the way. Then you make your best move. I bet $500 that each of you won't even get a kiss. Is $3,000 up for grabs, and the table has stakes. You really seem confident. Either play or shut up." Said to each other. The guys said they were in. "Okay," said Bill. "I will slip Rob something to knock her out. You can all do your best. Once he is down, one rule, only one, she must be enthusiastic. It is not about making her drink or pushing her in any direction." "Agree, certainly." To Kaisbill. The night of the game, Jenny dressed very elegantly in high heels, a mini-ope, and a low-cut blouse. She chose to stay to play because her plans fell through at the last minute, and she had to go out with friends to play cards. Once we were all seated, the hostess dealt the cards and started the game. Jeannie got a phone call. Well, we were on the third for Rob. "That's it for SS. Married my brother." I got up. I walked to the phone. After a few minutes, I came back to inform them that my brother had been in an accident and had been taken to the hospital. I had to go, but there was no reason to cancel the game. I kissed Jeannie and promised him I would call him from the hospital and left. I drove to Murphy's bar. I had a beer. Then I called home and asked Jeannie to let the boy know I wouldn't be back until morning. Dan is still out. He has a concussion. I have to stay here until S wakes up because she has to be home with the kids. The doctors say this could be many hours. I'm leaving here in the morning to go to work. I assured her I loved her and would call her when she woke up. I told her I owed her an assailant. Then I thanked her for the call. I stayed at the motel all night and had a few more beers. At 6, I called Jeannie and told her Dan had woken up and seemed to be working. Well, Bill came up to me smiling and handed me an envelope. "That's $3,000. He said you didn't do your part. And well, Rob, for me, it was worth it. Genius use the extra. Everything goes perfectly when you go to Quinn. After I left, it's a shame your brother suffered, but it helped us. You would have stayed in the house longer, and it would have set them back, eh? But if we had used that drug, but with you gone, they had free reign last night. The boys left your place looking a bit disappointed. Jenny, the affeteer, after playing along until he was convinced she would be taken all the way. It was great to see Sam leave with her tail between her legs around 10 a.m. I went home after telling my boss I wasn't feeling well. Genius would be at work until 5 a.m. and wouldn't be back until 5:45. Before the party, I went down to the basement workshop, opened the toolbox, and took out the 5 voice-activated recorders I had hidden around the house. I reversed the first one and started listening to it. There seems to have been a kiss followed with a sharp breath. Then Brad remarked, "Oh my God, you are so sexy. Is a dick within our reach?" "I'm not terrified," Jeannie replied. "Maybe on poker night. Let me give you a sample." I listened to someone undo a zipper. Jeannie then added, "Let me kiss him. Go ahead. Just a moment. Oh my God. Put it away, little one, and get ready for poker night." She continued. The sound of a door opening and closing is heard. Then the recording stops a second later and starts again. "Has anyone noticed we're coming?" "Not yet." Reader, I made sure no one was around because you advised me to be careful. "Get rid of him. Let me see him. We're doing it here. No silly. Until poker night, we're not acting at all. I'm just curious what's in store for me." Another zipper went off and Jeannie said, "Wow, baby, you got me. So hot right now this minute would be enough, oh Lord, let me take." "Oh, look, Sem sighs, I'm on the edge." Then I heard wet noises. "Put it away, sweetie, we have to get back to the party," Jeannie replied, along with the sound of a door opening and closing on that recorder. There was nothing else. So I moved on to the next one. The door opened and closed, and she asked how much time. "Do we have just enough to show me what poker night has in store for us? Oh my God, we would have been playing a long time ago if I had known you were this huge." "What do? I take off my shorts. Why, I want to see what it feels like. I can't wait for poker night." Sound of clothes hitting the floor. "Great, sweetie, relax. That's exactly it. Oh my God, that's fantastic. Not much. Do it, may do it little by little. Oh my God, indeed. Exactly like that. Damn. I wish we didn't have to stop. Too bad. We have less time. Yeah, we have to hurry back to the celebration." Jeannie's words came first, followed by kissing noises and more clothes being adjusted. "Although I wouldn't want to wait until Thursday. I'm going to have to do it. Neither on this tape nor the next one. There was nothing more." I went upstairs and got the tapes from the 4 cameras I had set up in the bedrooms and living room. I already knew what was on the 5th tape and put them back in the toolbox on the tape covering the living room. I saw myself leaving. Then Jeannie turned to the window and pulled the curtain. She turned around a minute later and said, "Fine. He's gone. How do you want to do this?" B asked. "Do you understand the stakes?" Jeannie asked. "For $500 each, and no one ever talks about it. Makes sense. Everyone agrees." Then Jeannie adds, "Give your money to Ball. Then draw cards. First, the highest card goes first." They drew the cards. "Donnie was first. We'll take you to the bedroom. Once you've laid down on the poker table." Jenny gets undressed and asks Bill to sit at the table. I grabbed my cell phone and quickly called a number while watching the tape. "Rob, it's John. We really have the jackpot." I only expected to catch Bill, but we ended up catching 5 more. "Right now, I'm watching the tape." "Yes, watch the newspapers. We'll meet up Tuesday." "Of course, see you later." I hung up and went back to watch the video. The bedroom camera caught them as they walked through the door. Jenny went to the dresser, got some gel from the top drawer, and walked over to the bed. She laid Josh down on the bed, then called Bill, smeared him with gel, and handed him the tube Slevin on the bed. She leaned over Josh. Just then Bill started to sit on the bed. Behind her, the phone rang. I was on the phone to Jeannie to tell him I'll be working at the hospital and putting him up. "We have time until you all have to report to work. He's not coming home. Everyone, since you can live that long." Bill and Josh found their groove. Bill and Josh found their groove. Then Van joined them on the 2 a.m. Everyone except Bill got ready to leave. No one had the stamina to keep going. "When will we get the next chance to do it?" asked then, as everyone was leaving. Jeannie and Bill curled up in bed, and Jeannie asked, "When will you get 500? And I was being mean to my darling. "Oh my God, indeed. I never imagined you'd actually do that when I told you it was my greatest wish, although I never considered doing it either. The opportunity to visit Kyokin and have the money for the trip was too good to be true. I wish to be able to accompany you. Maybe next time, my dear." 2 minutes later, he was both asleep. I was drinking a beer on the back pocket. When Jeannie came home from work, she came out, sat next to me, leaned over, and kissed me. "How was your day?" "One of the best," she asked me sincerely. "Oh yes, something positive happened, I think so. I think I saved a lot of money and lost weight." "How did you manage it last night?" "I filmed your brief expedition. I watched it." "Why are you so pale?" "My affection startled you, since your dear husband is not as dumb as you thought." "Indeed, what you are implying is unknown, not a single one. So let me tell you clearly, at 3 months ago, I learned. For UHB, I received horrible news after visiting a divorce lawyer. It makes no difference whether you be a high-heeled _ in this state. Divorce ends in a 50-50 split. The courts usually side with the women. That's why I should probably pay all the court costs and your lawyer's fees, although there is a way around it. I wasn't prepared to pay the price to make your cheating rear end disappear. If I could catch you committing a crime against me, I could throw you out and save my lawyer and court fees, which would leave me with all the assets. I didn't see how to go about it until you started arguing for that trip to Cancun. I then listened to the discussions between Brab, Sam, and the others, and thought about how I could profit from it. You and your boyfriend had taken the bait and moved on after I told you a long story about a Paris with the boys. Although these recordings are great, they're not the ones who will send you to jail. I had hidden 4 voice-activated recorders around the house during the barbecue, and I have recordings of you jogging hall, giving Sam a little minute of fun, and generally telling everyone that you were planning on hooking up with him last night. This will be done with the recorder I had on the phone line. Don't see anywhere. I'll be right back. As I got up, I went and had another beer. Then retrieved the recorder I left at the company office. I went back under the Porsche to sit on the swing. This is a tale of descent, the one that will send Bile and you to jail. I hit the play button after editing it slightly to remove any trace that suggested my involvement in setting up anything. Not only that, but I'm going to find a way to get those numbrains to clean me up. When everyone is done, you chose to let them use you. How do I do? This Rob will be distracted by you showing everyone your chest while I slip something into his drink. The pills will knock him out, and when he wakes up, he won't remember anything. You're free to do whatever you want. Hit him with a beer bottle, cut off an inch of whatever you want, cut off an inch of his ladder. He won't know until he wakes up. Although, I really like the beer bottle idea. He's not up to the standard he is. Once I'm done with all the boys and they're gone, maybe we can have some fun with Robe, maybe. Even take a picture of him with the bottle on his back. We can always tell him he did it on purpose, but was too drunk to remember. I left the stop button pressed. When I played the tape to my lawyer, he pointed out that you and Bill could be charged with conspiracy to commit a crime. Willful drug use is definitely criminal behavior. I'm not sure you didn't say anything genius. Now you know why she's so quiet. You're always surprised to learn that this, you brazen fool, is not as stupid as you thought. It's not a factor. John, my lawyer, claims I won't listen to you anyway. This one tape is enough to send you and Bill to jail. Last night you and Bill had improved the situation considerably. The residence was equipped with secret cameras that filmed everything you did. I have a video of you stating that you know all the terms, $500 each. Turn your money over to the prosecution, then cut the cards to see who goes first. The video of each man giving Bill money will prove you guilty of prostitution and will charge your pimp in legal terms with extortion and pimping. You are my sweetheart. Finished. She wasn't looking at me when I looked at her. I almost wanted to ask her where her newfound contempt for me came from, but she was looking anywhere but at me. I then concluded that I really didn't want to know. Here's what's going on. John has the divorce papers together, and I demand everything but your car, the house, the funds, the certificates of deposit, everything. You and I will go to John's office on Tuesday. You will sign the divorce papers, accepting everything as is and agreeing not to contest the divorce. We will then leave John's office and go our separate ways if you don't sign these papers on Tuesday. John will turn the tapes over to the assistant district attorney. You and Bill will end up in criminal court, most likely in jail. It's up to you. I need to know by Monday at 4 p.m. so I can let John know we'll be there on Tuesday. If he doesn't hear from me, he's talking to the district attorney at 1 p.m. Tuesday morning. Before his office closes at 5 p.m. Genius, you still have nothing to tell me. Maybe you'd like to talk to Bill about it. Can he come down with you? Next to the phone is a card from my attorney. Bill is being sued for alienation of affection. He might want to call John to see if we can resolve this outside of court. At the end of the weekend, I thought, got up and left her sitting there. We tried to avoid running into each other, but I reminded her of a clock deadline just before we left for work on Monday. When I walked into Brad's office for the morning coffee walkout, I was in a decent mood. Hello, everyone. And I said, I have something you should definitely see. Let's head to the conference room. A TV and a VCR are there. Bill was the only person missing. They are great guys. I have never seen such a nasty video. Donnie, Bill, and Jeannie filled the screen. When we heard the buzz of a fly, it is truly fantastic. Notice the clarity. The tape is crystal clear. You know the players by name. None of them turned to look at me until I added that I was so pleased with the quality of the video that I made a few copies and delivered them to each of your wives by special courier. I've confirmed the delivery by 8 a.m. Most of it should have arrived by now. I called your wives ahead of time to let them know what was going to happen. The wife wanted me to pass her copy on to her father. He's a lawyer. I'm not sure what else. Oh, and Sam Debai asked me to pass her a copy from the office. She apparently thinks she can just disappear since you get home before her, and she really wants to witness it. Are there any questions? Not really. It's hard to understand why no one wants to talk about it. Jenny couldn't talk to me either. I'm not going to argue with you, Salo. I'm just going to kick your ass, Marmondoni. Come on, Dennis. But don't forget, that's the attitude I'm in right now. That's my damn promise. You'll have to kill me to stop me from killing you. Does anyone else want to add anything? No, yes, no, fine, guys. 8 a.m. is the time. Let's go. Dill didn't work that day, and The whole time day, I got nothing but nasty looks from everyone else. Harry asked me what was going on at 3:30 when he called me into his office. I told him everything that happened. So I told him everything that happened after I sorted it out. I have nothing more to blame him for. The question is, can they work with me? There can be no conflict in the office under my leadership. Tell them Harry talked to me, but let me tell you this, if it interferes with business, tell them if you want to fire me because of their actions and my response, make sure my severance package is absolutely excellent. Otherwise, you will find out I have a very good lawyer, Rob. You are putting me in danger. No, I just want to tell you that I will sue you if you fire me. Instead of them, you are firing me because these idiots don't want to work with me, which is taking their side, which I will not accept. I will do my job exactly as I always have, and you have not had a single complaint about my work in over 10 years. At 3:50, Jenny makes a call. Bill insists that we fight. You don't have enough justification, he says, to keep your position. Okay. Genius, keep in mind, it was your decision. I hung up the phone. I contacted John the First, told him that Jenny had made his decision, and he told me he would let the ball roll. When he got to work the next day, Bill tried to avoid me at 2 p.m. Jenny called. I can't visit you or come into our house because it's my house too. Robert talks to Genius, the judge. I told my lawyer, I want you away from me because the documents she was able to find indicate that you intended to physically harm me. I need items and clothes. Let me know when you want to come see me, Rob. I will schedule a sheriff's deputy if it fits my schedule, and I will let you have your personal items back. Just personal items. Find a reason for your behavior. Why are you treating me like this? This is what we call settling scores with Genius. Revenge for what you and Bill did in my given. That deputy sheriff's part showed up at the office the next day at 10:24 and arrested Bill. Usually things don't happen this fast, but Bill informed the judge that he was worried about my safety since he works at the same place as me. He must have made things worse when they released him in handcuffs. At 4 p.m., I got a call from Judy, Genius' sister. Just called me. She's incarcerated. What's going on, Rob? And why is she calling me instead of you? All I know, Judith. That's what I hear. I wish he would keep her for a few more years, knowing that I would hang on to her because of her adultery. She contacted you dishonestly, God. Oh, she ignored me when I warned her. You knew. Everyone knew. Everyone recognizes you. I appreciate your informative update, Rob. What are you surprised at? Is my sister? Be careful, Judy. And I hung up the next day. When we got home from lunch, I answered the call from Minaya. I am the court-appointed attorney for your wife. She recently had a bail hearing, and a bail amount of $35,000 was decided. She wants you to put up your house as collateral and needs $3,500 for bail, given the situation. He sent to jail Mr. Milner. I think you have a better chance of winning the lottery than getting that the house is half hers, Mr. Wonderful. She can't sell her share because the bail if break. I intend to help her. Will you not help her at all, Mr. Milner? She let her lover talk her out of taking the chance. I offered her to get out of this mess. She rots in jail. I don't really mind. She would like to see you all fixed. That see her in an orange jumpsuit with a piss stain on the back. MRA to relax. There are visiting hours. She was brought in while I was sitting across from the ditch. She had ankle shackles and handcuffs on her orange. Later, I made some inquiries and found out that standard protocol is for all prisoners to be transported in handcuffs and leg shackles. So it makes no difference who you are, whatever you're wearing. They took the handcuffs off her, but left the leg shackles on her and guided her to the seat across from me. She sat down, looked at me, and started crying. Get me out of here, Rob. Help me out of here. Not a genius. You listened to your lover. Instead of me, offered you a choice that would have protected you from this. The truth is he cost you your marriage, and now he's costing you your freedom. I don't know if he lured or if you lured him into your affair. You could have signed the papers John had prepared and left, but you let Bill talk you out of it, believing he could somehow save you when you were found guilty. That is, assuming John was right. I'm quite happy things worked out this way, since I always get a divorce, and everything I asked for I like to see. You chained up. You should enjoy your life, Genius. You should at least try to enjoy the good marriage you gave up for the opportunity to be here. She screamed. I got up and walked out of the visiting room. Please, Rob, don't leave me here in the lobby. A young man was waiting with a briefcase. He greeted me and introduced himself as Jesson Minaya. Before this disaster gets too far, we need to talk. Let's move on. Your wife and Mr. Bolton told me it was your idea, and I'm afraid I'll have to testify about it in court. How long has it been? Are you doing this, Mr. Mner? Why not try to settle this case without going to court 5 years now? And so what? And all this time you still haven't figured out that your clients will say anything they think will increase their chances. I have recordings of their conspiracy activities against me, both audio and visual with evidence. Do you have Mr. Mner to back up these claims? I gave them the opportunity to settle the civil, and they both chose to. Return the favor a little longer, I'll see you in court. Mr. Minner and Bill went to his house, posted his bail, and when Jenny found out he was out, and she freaked out, turning to Bill. She said it was her idea and promised to testify against him in exchange for a plea deal. Her story, supported by the recordings, was sufficient. The jury was out for less than an hour, and the trial lasted less than a day. I'm still waiting for my trial for alienation of affection. John said we could go forward even if Bill was incarcerated, but it might be too soon. I would rejoice in the time I could spend stretching out his pain since Genius was found not guilty. I got my divorce, and everything I asked for. I don't know her, and I don't know what she does. I know she's been sitting in jail and lost her job. I visit her sister Judith from time to time, but we don't talk to Genius. By tacit understanding of the 5 men who fooled around with Genius all got divorced. Within 6 months, their wives took them to the dry cleaners. 2 of them were fired within 6 months of each other. The other 2 left within a year, and Sam made the mistake of waiting for me in the parking lot the day he was fired. He had 2 broken ribs, a shattered nose, and 5 missing teeth. After that, I suffered for a few days. As strange as it may sound, it was a wonderful agony, a satisfying pain of all others. Only Dennis still works with me. He was courteous when necessary to minimize our contact. The sum of $3,000 allowed me to pay for my 2 weeks in Canquin while Genius was behind bars. The most unexpected result of all this is that Miner was right. I had planned everything, but I had no idea it would go so well. I was just hoping for a divorce. What am I supposed to say? Sometimes you just get lucky and feel fantastic. I loved it when a strategy came together. I remembered that old show, Zodi, and what the Colonel, played by George Peppard, used to say.